Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Sally Spencer Thomas. I'm a clinical psychologist and the president of United Suicide Survivors International. And I'm also the survivor of my brother's suicide in 2004. Karsten was a 34-year-old business leader, father of two, and by all external accounts, he had everything that people could dream of. Uh, a great job, a beautiful family, a lot of friends who loved him. And my brother also fought fiercely against depression. He lived with bipolar condition that ultimately proved to be fatal. So this is the reason I do what I do in suicide prevention and mental health promotion with United Suicide Survivors and the American Association of Suicidology and other places where I try to prevent what happened to Carson from happening to other people. Today is International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day, and I'd like to highlight some things that I've learned along in my grief journey that have helped me out quite a bit, and that is the power of ritual to make meaning for survivors of suicide loss. Many of us are caught up in the conspiracy of busyness and are often cut off from our grief. In many cultures in the United States in particular, we're trained to be fearful of death. We are conditioned to get over our loss and move on as quickly as possible. However, as a Jewish prayer states, we do our best homage to our dead by living our lives fully, even in the shadows of our loss. Our grief is what allows us to begin to live our lives fully again after loss. One of the ways that I have found to work through the grief and loss of my brother's suicide is through healing rituals. Rituals are symbolic actions that usually acknowledge or honor transitions in our lives and can be very powerful tools for processing our emotions. For one, they can provide some containment for what feels like a chaotic, out of control experience. We usually don't know what to do, especially in the aftermath of an unanticipated trauma like suicide. And rituals sometimes have very soothing and reassuring aspects to them that give our minds something meaningful to focus on. Many other reasons for the effectiveness of rituals exist. For example, when words don't suffice, rituals can offer symbolic means to communicate. Community rituals can offer and build a sense of solidarity. And as we try to figure out a new normal in our individual and family lives, rituals can help give us structure. Rituals can become intentional releases like pressure valves, and they can bring forth cherished memories and connect us to what matters most. Every year, I engage in and facilitate a number of rituals for myself, my family, and my community. Here are some that have been meaningful to me. First, there's the ritual of remembrance. Probably the most common rituals for grieving a loss are rituals of remembrance, like lighting candles in honor of our loved ones. That's a powerful and beautiful way to acknowledge the light they brought into the world. Saying the names of our deceased loved ones aloud has also a great impact. I remember after my brother died by suicide, I was at a complete loss on what to do for Father's Day for my dad. And when I meditated on this question, an image of a weeping American elm flashed into my mind's eye. Planting a tree together provided a ritual that symbolized Carson's enduring spirit and the seasons of our lives. Watching the tree grow reminds me that our bond with him continues. Another ritual that's been important to me has been rituals of communication. Rituals of communication can give us the opportunity to say things that we couldn't or didn't while our loved one was still alive. One of the ways to do this is by writing a letter or a poem or a song to our loved one. The third ritual that I'd like to highlight is the ritual of nurturing. Grieving is hard work, and often we are so overwhelmed by the intensity of our emotions, we forget to take care of ourselves. In the process, we can find ourselves drained or continually sick, and this just adds to our misery. Having a comfort box nearby can give us some ideas on how we can replenish ourselves. Soothing music or aromatherapy, whatever works for you. You'll know what's nurturing. Some people might have religious passages or affirmations they can find grounding, or maybe it's pictures or stories that make us laugh or warm our soul. All of these can go into your comfort box. The fourth ritual is the ritual of reflection. In our busy lives, we often find it hard to pause and reflect on where we have been and where we are and where we're going. Rituals of reflection give us space and structure to do this. Sometimes this form of a ritual can come through as a meditation or a prayer. Other times we might find journaling or drawing might serve this purpose. I find that long periods of meditation open up channels of thought or insight that I can't get in another way. I allow these practices with journaling around the insights I've received and open me up to ideas. And I then later look back at these entries and connect the dots. The fifth rituals are really rituals around community connection. Many of our local and national suicide prevention walks offer rituals of community connection as a way to publicly honor our loved ones and create a sense of belongingness among bereaved people. I have seen balloon releases, dove releases, and even the Mardi Gras beads that the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention offers as examples of these community practices. Our AAS conference each year, American Association of Suicidology, we used to have survival quilts everywhere, quilts made to honor our loved ones who died by suicide, and they would be displayed all over the conference. These group rituals let us know that we're not alone in our pain. And last, there's rituals of release. Sometimes we have places in our grief that seem to get in our way: guilt, anger, or regret, rage. These can fester and keep us stuck. For rituals of release, some people have written these thoughts out on paper and then they've burned the paper as symbolic ways of letting go these toxic emotions. Others have buried symbols of these emotions in the ground. On the anniversary of my brother's death, I like to bring out everything I have that reminds me of him. I usually take the day off from work and have the house to myself. I watch videos where he is being delightful. I look at pictures and read the letters he wrote to me. And I smile as I read the 10-year-old handwritten note he sent me while I was at summer camp one year. And I cry as I watch him in the video where he joyously plays with his daughter. And I look at the pictures of us hugging at different ages in our lives, and I think, he loved me, he loved me, he loved me. And I put my finger right on the grieving because I never want to lose touch with why I do this work. I will always remember, and I believe that he walks with me as I go on this journey. So if you have a ritual that you feel can be powerful by yourself or in a large setting, please share them with others. And together we will find our pathway through.